So the purpose of this video is to show you how to make an iPad, iPhone 4, or iPod Touch stylus out of items available from the dollar store. So I'll go ahead and first show you the item in action. So we're going to go over what you're going to need in order to make the stylus. The first thing is an umbrella. This is the basis for the stylus, and this is $1. You're also going to need a shrink wrap and pull bow bag. You can see this is for making gift bags. It's basically shrink wrap plastic. You're also going to need cellulose sponges. In this case, I got a 2-pack for $1. In this case, it says cellulose, but if not, you'll want to get this type of sponge. You're also going to need some electrical tape. Again, this is a 2-pack for $1. And you're also going to need a hacksaw. The first 4 items I got at the Dollar Tree. The last item I got at a 99-cent only store. There's a couple other things you're going to need, but they're the type of things that you should have around the house already. So for example, scissors. You're also going to need a lighter, or a hairdryer preferably, or some kind of heat source for the heat shrink. Alright, so we'll get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is separate the cap from the umbrella. Now the first one I got, I actually wound up using a hammer to break it off. You could use a brick or a rock or your foot, whatever. But in the second one that I got, I actually noticed it was a little cockeyed. And when I messed with it, I noticed that it just kind of came off. So you might be able to get yours off in that way. The second thing we're going to need to do is separate this bottom piece that ends right here from the rest of the umbrella. Now all you need to do is, there's a couple of holes with pins in them, and all you're going to need to do, and you'll see in the image next, is just stick something sharp in there. It can be a scratch awl like what I've got. If you don't have one of those, it could be a pin, and you're just going to want to push those pins on each side all the way in. And then with some force, you'll have to, separate these two pieces. I've already done it, so it actually comes right off, but when you do it, you'll have to pull it pretty hard to get it to come off. Alright, so now that we've gotten this piece by itself, the next thing we're going to need to do is cut it with the hacksaw. The reason is in part because it's too long, but also because there's kind of an indentation here and a couple of holes, and so cutting it will get rid of that. So determine how long you want it to be. Like with mine, I based it off of the length of a Papermate pen. So you can see it's about that length. You might want to make it based on the length of a Sharpie. Whatever you decide, start from here, measure to here, wherever you want. Next thing you're going to want to do is remove this piece, and the reason is A, in case you want to modify it to make it a little bit smoother, but also because it's going to be the cap for the other end. This is going to be the end without the stylus part. And this cap kind of helps give you a nice edge, because this edge might still be a little bit rough after you cut it. If you have a file, you can go ahead and use a file to smooth it out, or if you don't, you can take it outside on your driveway or sidewalk and just go like that for a little while, and that'll smooth it out a little bit so it's not so jagged. But it's still nice to have some kind of cap over it. And especially since this end is nice and smooth. In order to get this off, what you're going to need to do is get either a pin or, again, a scratch awl. And there's going to be 2 sides to this pin. It goes through. And you'll see one side's going to be silver and one side's going to be, the opposite end is going to be kind of black where you can't see anything. And what you're going to want to do is put something in there and basically push it so that the pin will come out the other end. When the pin's sticking out the other end, you can literally just pull it out with your finger. So once you got that piece off, this is going to be the piece where you put your end for the stylus. What you also might want to do is, you'll notice here there's a little bit of a it's coming out a little bit. Might be hard to tell. What you're going to want to do is try to find a way to kind of put that back in. And all I did was I stuck, I believe, like a screwdriver in there. Anything that's going to kind of maintain the shape. It could even be this pin, and just kind of hammer it down with your hammer. And the point of that being, if you don't put anything in there, you might distort the shaft, this round. It won't be round anymore, it might be oval or whatever. So put something in there to maintain that, and then just kind of tap it with the hammer so that it's not so pointy. So the next thing then you're going to need to do is get your shrink wrap paper and your sponge, and basically you're going to put your shrink wrap paper on your sponge, and then go kind of like that. That's basically your tip. You're going to want to twist it up, and we'll show you that in a second. And then basically put it into the pin. Twist it up like that, and the point of that is so that you can get it into the pin. Once you've twisted it up like that, just kind of twist it into the end of the pin, and you'll have something that looks, you know, like that. The point of that is not only does it give you a nice smooth finish, but it also adds a little bit of stability, because otherwise, you know, the foam itself, or the cellulose itself is kind of soft, so when you drag your pen or whatever, it'll bend a little bit. And so this kind of firms it up and gives you a nice edge that's kind of firm. So I'll show you a shot of that. So once you got that in there, you're going to want to heat that up with preferably a hairdryer, but you can also use a lighter or matches or a stove. You don't want any direct flames to get on it, it'll burn right through. But once that's done, it'll tighten up and it'll firm up that tip, and it'll smooth it out real good. Once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is you want to get some duct tape, or sorry, some electrical tape, kind of overlap it just over the edge here, and go around. And the purpose of that is just to kind of give you a soft edge, so that if that metal won't ever touch your iPhone or your iPad or whatever. So that way, when you're at an angle, you don't have to worry about the metal scratching your iPad. So that's the purpose of that, and that's why you overlap it just a little bit over the edge. So on the other end, what I did was I got this piece that was from the umbrella that we took off, and I went ahead and just got the hacksaw and cut this piece off where it's kind of got a lip. And then you basically wind up with a smooth finish like this. And then you just stick it on the other end, and you wind up with something like that. Now if you want to, for looks, you can go ahead and wrap some more tape around this end. Kind of balances the look of it out a little bit. And basically, you know, something like this. I'm doing it one-handed, but you wind up with something like that. And again, then if you want to, for looks, you can go ahead and run tape along the entire thing, which is what I did on mine. And that's basically it. I mean, there's a lot of different options you can use. They make the cellulose sponges in yellow, blue, green. If you got yellow, you can also use a Sharpie to color it. This, for example, then could be black or blue or red. You could make it dual-sided. You can make it just like this. You can leave the middle aluminum exposed if you like that look. You can also use, if you buy a Sharpie, it costs you another $1. They make red, blue, and black at the dollar store, at the Dollar Tree. You can put that cap on there, so you'll have like a black, red, or blue cap on here. If you wanted to, you could match up this end with the color that you're using for the Sharpie cap. So there's a bunch of different options as far as how it's going to look. If you go the Sharpie route, I would probably make it a little bit shorter, more the size of a Sharpie, because this one right here is kind of long. So if you're going to go that route, I'd cut the barrel a little bit shorter. You can see it's a little bit longer than a Sharpie. That's about it.